People have been carving figures, faces, and forms into all kinds of available materials since humanity first learned how to wield tools, lending sculpting a rich and ancient history. From the remnants of past civilizations, we know these artifacts serve many purposes: decorative, ceremonial, commemorative, and so much more.
But what about Uganda's sculpture history? This week on Art and About UG, we dive into that very question, and who better to guide us than one of our very own esteemed sculptors, Dr. Lilian Mary Nabulime.
Dr. Nabulime has redefined sculpting as more than just an art form. It's her way of bringing social awareness to critical issues.
From her groundbreaking work on HIV/AIDS awareness to her innovative approach to sculpture in education, Dr. Nabulime's legacy is nothing short of inspiring.
My name is Maria.
And my name is Stella.
This is Art and About UG. Thank you so much, Dr. Nabulime, for having us here in your studio space in Chanja. It's called Lily Gardens.
The gardens is different from my practice.
Okay.
So I call this the LM Nabulime Foundation.
Okay.
Which is meant for artists. Well, it's me and other artists.
Okay.
I hope to bring artists should come and they get opportunities to do wood carving. This many, I'm mainly interested in, of course, other ways of art, but I'm mainly focused on wood carving.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is a trend which is, I feel, is disappearing.
Yeah.
I've taught students over the years, almost 30 years ago. I have very few who
actually continue.
Yeah, who continue, but because they have many obstacles, and I hope maybe this will be a space for them, for students
to continue.
Yeah, and even the public, those who are interested. Yeah.
Okay. So you you tend to focus your pieces on some very controversial topics, some stigmatized topics like the HIV awareness sculptures that you've done, and I imagine this takes some kind of courage, not so, to like cover topics that people usually
shy away from.
Yeah. I don't think they are controversial. We've lived with HIV/AIDS for almost 40 years.
Okay.
And I'm happy. Well, God gave me a chance to live. But even those now who have HIV/AIDS, they have good drugs.
Yeah. They can.
My husband had HIV/AIDS, and I didn't know how to handle. There was a lot of stigma at that time, even up to now, because people go behind your back and tell you that you are that because my husband had it, then they assume that I have it.
Okay.
Yet I don't have it.
Okay.
But by that time, when the disease surfaced, that was I think 1998. I come back from Namibia from a residential artist workshop, and I found he had all the symptoms.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, Edward, what is wrong?" He said, "Oh, it is TB." But then I knew.
Okay, thought it was TB.
He just pretended.
Oh.
Yeah, he wasn't telling the truth.
Yeah.
So I talked to a friend of mine. Then he said, "Oh, why don't you go for HIV testing?" I tested, I was negative. 3 tests, they were all negative. Then he asked me, "Ask him." And then Edward said that he was HIV. No, he was HIV free, that it was
something else.
Tuberculosis still. TB, because he was coughing at that time.
Okay.
So I put my results on that table, and I forgot all about it. And then I happened to meet his doctor, 2 of his doctors, and asked them. They said, "Oh, he's a goner case. He's a goner case." Then I said, no, he responded in a bad way. That
the goner case was because it was so
but
advanced,
that he's dying. Well, but
I think it's because at the time it wasn't really like you didn't look like you had hope. If you found out you had HIV, people thought you were going to die.
Yeah, maybe, but still,
the delivery.
You have to give somebody
as a doctor.
You have to give as a doctor. You have to give your clients hope. His friends who are supposed to support him, who have given us support, not mental, it was mental, because money-wise he was okay.
Yeah. Emotional support was not.
It was not there. Everybody,
especially because it was so new.
It was new and it was scaring everybody because you can't
You don't know what
you don't
to
know what's
expect.
happening. Yeah,
Kind of like
exactly.
the COVID situation, right?
Yeah,
And the
something like
COVID
that.
situation.
Yeah.
But because I had no one to, I said, well, he's on treatment.
Yeah.
And I just blocked off because wherever I would go for support, for help,
It will be closed doors.
they're closed doors. That is a family issue.
But did he actually accept eventually?
After when I had gone to the UK. So it was 4 years, no, after 4 years, without people coming in to support, give us that support. They all had, most of them had gone away. Whatever. So, and then my immunity started running down.
So
Then-
you were worried.
So I was worried because he would eventually die and then would take you us and the kid. But I worried about his health.
Yeah.
And then when I went to the doctor, I had a small patch on the body. Then I went to the doctor, and then the same doctor said, "Oh, you're more sick than the sick man." And I said, "What?"
I just had 3 negative tests. What do you mean?
Yeah, he knew I was negative. So when he took another test now, like 2 years after,
Yeah.
or 3,
Yeah.
and because of my low immunity, that was the time for him to confirm I was HIV positive.
Yeah.
But the results were still negative.
Still negative.
Then he said, "You are more sick than the sick person," because my immunity had run down.
Yeah. You got the delivery though.
It's terrible. It must have been such
The
a
doctors
terrifying.
I think sometimes doctors are traumatized. They don't know how to handle.
Yeah. But
So
I'm sure they get better training nowadays.
I don't know. Because,
Okay.
no, sometimes of yet I've still got a doctor who just they talk
Just says
carelessly. Mama, yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So then at that time what I did, sat down, thought Edward is going to die and I also die. Who will take over our daughter? And I was heading a department. I just decided that let me stop heading the department. Then one of
To
my
focus.
colleagues, on the patient and my health. And then one of my colleagues said, "Why don't you go and do a PhD?" And then the PhD I wanted was practice-based, so I just went to British Council, worked to British Council. They helped me to find the schools, but I didn't have money. And when I was able to get 3-4 schools in the UK. And then I didn't have the money. I went back to them and said, "Time is not right." I went to my first chancellor. He said, "No, there's not enough. That money is too much." And then I had given up. And then somebody walked into my life. And then I was seated somewhere. And then I just said, "Oh, I have this PhD funding in the UK." I said, "But I don't have the money." This guy just said, "There's money for you." I said, "Excuse me? You're talking about British pounds, not dollars." He said, "Yeah." And then I asked him, "Why am I getting this opportunity?" He said, "You work
Seems to be
hard."
suspicious.
And he said, "Yeah, money is there for you." I never took hand of this money until 1 month. Pressures were, so much was happening, and I said, "I better take this money."
This
I told
opportunity.
Edward, "There's this opportunity." And Edward said, let us go and say thank you." We went. Then after a month, I was in the 2001 September.
Yeah.
When they had bombed the US. I was on a flight to the UK. I felt so happy. I feel
Some hope.
I felt free.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh no, no pressures." But then that's when I started. Let me read about women and HIV/AIDS. And I said, "Oh my God, I shouldn't be here." Edward was quiet because
He was
couldn't-
supporting.
No, he couldn't talk. He was stigmatized.
Okay.
Because people talked negatively about people living with HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the worries as a family man, taking care of your family.
Yeah.
It was too much on him.
Yeah.
But that was also a turning point for me. I was in the UK and they had already invested money for
In your
3
further
years
education.
in the UK. We are all fully funded.
Wow.
Then I sat down, I thought, I'm an African. No one can hardly give you those 3 years in the UK, well, fully paid. And then I said, let me read about women and HIV. That was my turning point to to do my research on HIV/AIDS.
Okay.
And then channel it into the art.
To the art.
Into the sculpture, yeah.
So what were you focused on before? Were you?
I was focused on women issues, women issues, because women will go through a lot.
Yes.
And sometimes we can't talk about these issues that are affecting us. But then through art, we can
Give them a platform.
Yeah, we can communicate our issues. But then at the University of Newcastle, when they read through my synopsis, they realized I did not focus. And when I brought in HIV/AIDS, that was focusing. Women and HIV/AIDS.
Okay.
And that was it. But even I had issues with my supervisors. You are not a scientist, you are not into health.
Okay. How
I
can
said,
you speak on these things?
I said, yes, this is something which has affected me.
Personally.
My husband is sick, my sister is sick, my father died, and so many people have lost so many on HIV. You know, the good thing about those people in the UK, they just let me do what I wanted. But then they had to find out through the university systems, how I can get methodologies of how to do this research and develop my artwork.
Moving on to something a bit more recent, your work with the ceramic, with the terracotta, figures wearing masks. It talks about our experience, our collective experience. Was it more introspection or was it a reflection of a collective experience during
I think
COVID?
it is also collective experiences I've gone through. The HIV/AIDS trauma and the COVID. The COVID, you are on your own. That one, literally, I was on my own.
Yeah.
Because I remember even doctors who are my friends were,
Everybody kept to themselves.
apart from the doctor who was treating me.
Yeah.
For her, she handled me so well, and I was able to survive.
Yeah. Did you get COVID as well?
Oh, I did. I almost died.
Yeah.
And I could go to her clinic and say, I don't feel well for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You don't look like you have COVID.
This was in the middle of a pandemic or before?
Yes.
Terrible.
Then she says, Then I told her, can we do the COVID test? No, I just went and did the COVID test and it was positive. So I went to her. Then she said, come to the clinic the following. She prescribed medicines.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I go to Mulago, I'll be hijacked and I will not come out.
Isolation, yeah.
No, because many people died who walked into Mulago.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I think they mandated that you stay there. So you were sort of trapped.
Yeah.
So during COVID, I was at home on my own. And then you could hear all these negative comments.
Of course. It was like a new 1998 experience altogether.
Yeah.
With the way people were handled and rushed
But my
into
doctor
this.
handled me so well.
Yeah.
That I was able to survive.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you've been creating these kinds of, let's call them controversial for the sake of the question.
Okay.
Since you've been handling these controversial topics in your artwork, how has the reaction been? Do people come? What kind of powerful reactions have you gotten that you can recall from your audience?
I expected controversial responses or negative responses when I was doing my HIV models. You see them in the studios. None.
People kept quiet still.
They keep quiet?
Were they aware that this is what you were talking about?
Yes, I'm very open.
Very vocal.
Yes, because most of the HIV/AIDS infections in Uganda are through heterosexual
relationships.
Yes, we have the gay issues, but those people are quiet about it. But when I read the newspapers one time, because me stupidly also thought heterosexual, but we have the homosexuals around.
Yeah.
And because of stigma, the homosexuals are also quiet, and they are spreading the disease. On the surface, they look that it is a complete family, and yet behind the back of the woman, the man is into homosexual.
Yeah, in the closet. Yeah,
he gets it, and then that disease is more rampant, or chances of not getting it when you are a homosexual, okay, are high. Yeah, those people don't know. We need to talk about these issues openly.
But has your work started? Has your work facilitated such conversations?
Yeah,
Would you say?
sometimes it do. They do, but people are very quiet.
Yes,
But
still.
if there's an issue for me to talk about HIV/AIDS,
Yeah.
and issues that affect us, openness,
Yeah.
I talk.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if I don't talk, people are losing their lives.
Sure. There
Maybe
is
my
a
husband,
information.
if he wasn't also stigmatized, he would be living.
Yeah, yeah.
But because the friends he had, they were all quiet.
yeah.
I don't know.
There was a
They were
very
all
limited
quiet.
support system, so the support system was
Yeah. And I remember
Just-
telling Edward, I have this opportunity for you in the UK. Come for treatment. And so he just kept quiet. Then I said, why don't you talk about your experience? Then he said, Lilian, you don't know.
Yeah.
When he opened up, it was Major Ruwaramira who helped me
to get
him to open, for him to open. Then he said, you don't know. I knew because people were talking around
you as
him,
well.
around him. Yeah, even up now they talk. I've seen friends who are saying, you're HIV positive. I told them, I said, we are ashamed of you. You know, even at this era.
Yeah.
People
There
are
are still people
they're
stuck.
talking about me. They think I'm HIV positive, and yet I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you can't just spend your time listening.
Explaining.
Addressing
blah,
the
blah, blah.
rumors. Yeah, yeah.
Edward did not talk, so it was really antagonized. And I said, whatever issues you have in life, talk, be open.
Yeah. A problem shared really is a problem.
Yeah, and I
solved.
remember, in fact, I got that strength from the women who are living with HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
Because they were very open when I was responding to my questions. I asked them, why are you so open about these issues that are affecting you, HIV/AIDS? He said, if we talk, then there's no rumor mongering.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It's out in the
Gosh.
open. Yeah.
As soon as you
Yeah.
speak,
So for
everybody
me,
knows.
whether it is on radio, elsewhere in public,
Yeah.
I talk about this issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody has been rumor mongering Lilian is HIV positive, let it be, but I would go and tell.
Put the facts on the
Yeah, I
table.
put the facts on the table.
Yeah.
It's up to you to believe or not.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring that you have turned your experience into something that can be learned from by so many people.
Yeah.
So it's like
Especially because, you know, we've all been affected. Like,
Yes,
you know, we've all
in
had,
some
like, you know,
way.
family members, friends who we've lost to the
Yeah,
to either
yeah.
HIV or COVID even.
and
you know.
to a disease that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
A disease that people are going to, you know, ostracize you from society for,
Yeah.
and like there's a lot of misinformation going on. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
but such a
creating a
creative way
platform
of,
in a creative ways.
Yeah, but then I think also God intervenes, because when I made my soap sculptures that help people to communicate about HIV/AIDS, somehow when I did them, my daughter walked around and said, Mommy, you are clever. But then I looked at the works, and then after that I said, it is the power of God.
Yeah.
God helps you to maneuver.
be able,
through-
to speak through you.
to speak through me. Or maybe that's why I'm living.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then today, like yesterday, you know, I'm on a forum, Macau College School.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then somebody
Shout
put up
out.
so somebody said, get people on our platform. And then I was about to open up my mouth.
Yeah.
And then I said, I just told him,
Maybe
let
let
me
me start."
read what is on the forum, then I'll respond.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Then I told my colleague who will run the WhatsApp, I told him that we have this issue. How are we handling? Doctor, just let
leave
it
it.
be for some time, and then we'll see it in the morning. And I said, to Sunday, people need to have what? A free day. They said, Doctor, let it be. Wait.
let's rest.
Let us rest
Yeah.
before we respond.
Yeah.
When I woke up this morning, I said,
that-
God, give me the wisdom how to respond on this issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we also antagonize the gay people.
Yes.
And yet the gay people are among us.
All these topics we're not
You
able
know?
to
Yeah,
bridge.
and the more you bury something,
Uh-huh.
the
more
worse
it
the problem
becomes a
is. You can't,
problem.
you
Yeah.
cannot solve what you have not addressed.
How many
Yeah.
mothers are crying for their children?
Yeah.
And I'm a mother. I know how those mothers feel when their children have decided to move away from the normal.
Yeah. So should
Okay.
we expect your next work to be around that? Breaking
But
the...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I keep on thinking, drawing. Ideas come,
Yeah.
but I think we need a society which is open,
Open to
and
discussion.
talk.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people engage into these activities not knowing what the repercussions are.
Yes.
And because they are stigmatized, they keep quiet.
Yeah.
And then you are losing them all.
Yeah.
Talk openly about these issues.
I noticed as you were working, you sort of like just, dive in. I wonder, because you've talked about you sketch and, so
I do
is the idea
models.
in your head, or you're pulling it out as you're working?
What's the thought, what's the creative process like?
The creative process usually it depends. The process is drawing.
Yes.
And then after drawing, you put into markets models. Okay. But if I'm working on roots like that one, that is a ficus tree root. Okay. A ficus, omutuba. Okay. That one, you look at it and observe, you draw. Yeah. Then if the tree suggests what you want, can suggest. But then you cannot put your ideas into it. Because already it's already a beautiful piece.
Exactly.
So what more can you add on?
So you just refine. Sometimes you refine just the wood itself. Sometimes you just
you're
with
drawing
the wood.
The idea out.
You bring it out.
When the wood is when it is not a log.
Yeah.
I study and observe, draw, then I start working.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping to create with this one?
I don't know what's going to come out of it.
Okay.
But I've worked on a similar piece, two pieces of ficus, and they created a screen.
Like a privacy screen?
A screen which you move around.
Okay.
In a room.
In a room. I don't know what this is going to be, but when I start working, ideas start flowing.
I think it will be something interesting because the shape already is.
It can be just a freestanding figure, two figures, forms. Abstract forms.
So sculpting has a history, both globally and some history in Uganda as well. As a contemporary artist, what's the evolution of art like for you? What has the evolution of art been? Whether it's in terms of functionality or purely artistic impression. What is the art? What is the sculpting scene? Ugandan scene like?
If it is to do, I think most of the artists in the past were trained by Margaret Twelve when they went to school. Regarding sculpture, there has not been very evident information about carving. Maybe they did. Maybe if you are making sculpture, unlike the people in the West Africa. Who have made masks, sculptures, which are related to their tribes. Here we hardly have any. There's a Luzila sculpture which was found, and maybe it is one of his own. Okay. And I think it was clear, but then it was taken away to the Britain. Whatever they returned is a replica.
Oh, okay. It was found by archaeologists?
Maybe, yeah. But I think most of the sculpture, there has been carving, but then the carvings which may have been done were to create tools, like spoons.
Nothing artistic.
Not even ceremonial, not even to honor someone. So this is very much a young.
It's quite new
in Uganda.
Yeah.
When is the latest that you can remember? What's the oldest sculpture that you can remember?
It is all this by being through training.
Okay.
And Margaret Twelve, when he taught the Gregory Malobas.
Yes. With the Independence Monument.
Maybe that's the period when artists were able to produce sculptures.
Okay, so I guess that explains why people, every now and then, people will come up in the newspapers and write an article about why aren't there statues in Uganda, why aren't there, monuments. I guess it's because the culture for it wasn't really.
And then even now at the moment, of late, you see that art is not given
that kind of respect.
Or even in the cultural. Fortunately, I went to schools which are offering art.
Yeah.
But there are some schools there's no art because you need the materials.
Some training.
Well, you need trainers, but if you're not given an upper hand, giving them materials, training,
the environment doesn't really support it.
No. Okay. Even when you see our president talks, it's supposed to be science.
The sciences.
Yet it forgets that when people are creative, a lot can achieve.
We can change a lot in society, like, you know.
I think also maybe it's because the reward for some of these practices is immediate, and yet in other areas, but that's also a bit unfair because I know even doctors, nurses, medical practitioners are crying about the lack of reward for what they're doing. So, like, but I think when you were speaking earlier, you mentioned that a lot of your students don't normally want to pursue sculpting any further, and I feel like that might be because the reward that they're going to get.
It's not instant.
Yeah, it's not
What
instant.
reward?
For example, monetary.
Monetary reward. Like,
True.
being able to sustain yourself, like
That sustainability after university is
it's very important. Yeah, it becomes a problem. So,
But how have you been able to sustain yourself? Because I imagine this, it's a lot of investment, the materials, the tools. It's a lot of
the skills.
Yeah, let me tell you, this space as you see it, it's all my own initiative. Because when my husband passed, he had left a foundation for the house, and literally, because he was sick, people cheated him. I came here, I had an architect, and then he said, "Oh, Lilian," he said, "this foundation is not strong enough." I said, "What?" In fact, literally, you could kick the brick and fly off. So I had to start from scratch. My salary from the university,
Just
and
pouring it.
Yeah, and then the few times when I sell, and then injecting. And I thank God that he never built that house at that time because I
it would have been disastrous.
Yeah, there was hardly any cement, and yet he had to be 2 floors. And then after that, I said, "No, I'm seeing. I'm now on my own. My daughter is not here anymore. I should look at the art, work towards the art because Edward, all he said, you have this place, you can do your artwork, whatever you want to do, you can do into this space." So Edward was very supportive in what I do.
he had a vision.
Yes, he had.
He saw ahead.
Very lucky.
I was very. I'm lucky. Says you have a very big chunk of space in Janja.
And also being able to use it as you want, right?
You wish.
Yeah, and of course I've added more. I've bought more land to make it
to supplement.
Yeah. And people think, how dare you? I say, and we need the space,
Right.
and we need the arts.
tranquility where people can come and relax.
But has your work changed though? The perception of people, you know, when it comes to sculpting through your work, do you see like a mind shift?
A shift, yeah. A mind shift, like people have started appreciating
embracing
it
it
differently.
more. People have picked up interest in sculpting, you know, because it's not just sculpting; it's also social commentary in a way.
For sculpture, I'm not very sure, but I'm seeing the art scenery getting better in Uganda than when I graduated.
Okay.
We are seeing many designers, many artists coming up.
Okay.
Fashion.
People are expressing themselves.
Yeah, poets. And I think maybe that's a sign of that we are free.
Yes.
There's freedom
Yes.
of expression
Yes.
to an extent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel that art has to have a purpose, a function, a message, or can it just be random?
It depends on an individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is yours purely functional or?
Sometimes it's functional, but ever since I made those sculptures out of on HIV/AIDS, then I realized art has to have a meaning, and when it has a meaning, it draws more people.
Okay. Because more people can relate to it and
Interact with it.
the part of your life that is the artist and the part of your life that is the educator. How have you balanced these two areas of your life? How have they informed each other? How do they play into each other?
I've expressed my feelings, my thoughts within my art. Remember my husband when he used to live? And then he was a huge man, he was these rugby players. But then when he had issues
With his health?
health and even to behave, when my daughter had misbehaved, well, to control her or to discipline her, he couldn't. And I was always the
You were the disciplinarian.
I remember making a sculpture of him short and me standing out, and then our daughter.
The roles reversing.
Yes, both of them. My daughter looked at the artworks I'd done. They just kept quiet.
Yeah.
She was like, wow.
And much as Edward fell sick, when I'd made the soft sculptures, those last models, I laid them on the table and asked them, Edward, can you respond to these sculptures? I knew in my mind, I'm antagonizing him. He didn't say anything.
Okay.
But when his friends the rugby boys had come to see, he just said, can you support Lilian? Because he knew what I was doing was positive.
Yeah.
Just making an impact.
An impact.
He saw
in
the bigger
society.
picture.
Yet he himself could not talk openly about the disease that had affected him to warn the young men who were playing rugby. So for me, that also gave me strength to talk openly using my artworks.
Must have been an invaluable support coming from him.
Yeah. Okay, would you say that the education scene is changing or adapting to match the global scene, the Ugandan education system, for example, at MOOC?
Has there been
a change in the way you teach, in the things that you teach over the years that you've been teaching?
Yes.
Curriculum.
In terms of
the curriculum might not have changed a lot. It may, but then with art, you have to use a lot of materials.
Okay.
And yet, when you are on an international scene, every object becomes
a tool
which you can use for communicating.
Okay.
So that is this kind of installations.
Yeah.
Metaphors, whatnot. So we need to build more, encourage more that whatever tools or whatever objects you have, you can use it to express yourself or encourage people. Talk about it. It can help you to talk about issues that affect us.
But now that you're going into retirement, what should we hope for in terms of passing on the knowledge? Because like you said, sculpting is not something that you see a lot of in Uganda. Sculpting, wood carving is not something that is very popular in Uganda. What's the plan to pass that down?
Pass the knowledge.
I think I will have workshops.
Okay.
Then through these workshops, because when you take on people, you observe what are their weaknesses and
potential,
and then what is required.
Yeah.
And I believe maybe for the next 5 years, I will know.
Okay.
And maybe more will have come on board.
I'm also curious about the ecological impact of these trees. I noticed you in a very natural environment.
There's so much green around us.
I love green, but I also plant. But it's unfortunate that as I plant, I keep on losing. Like sometimes I had water had taken over some of the spaces, and I lost quite a number of trees. But I know some of them I have on ground can be used for sculpture.
Okay. Do you have a specific source where you get your tree? Are these local? Are these Ugandan trees?
Makerere University is always chopping wood.
Okay. So the materials are there.
The materials
readily
are there.
available.
Which is the best tree type that you've used? Which tree responds the best to carving?
I think the ficus or mutuba is a very good wood.
Is it common?
Not very, but that was a root.
Okay.
But they are common if you find them in the villages.
Okay.
You can find them.
Okay.
But then for them in the villages, it's for wood, for
firewood.
Mainly for backcloth. People,
it's the same one.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that must have taken ages
to grow.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we have Sambia, but any type of wood.
Yeah.
Me, I can use it.
You can use as a master.
Of course. So when can we hope to come for lessons?
Maybe it was as the year ends when I've completed my contract in market. That is 2 months to come. So next year I should start on the workshops.
Okay. So we look forward to it. To be part of this.
All with the same.
Yeah.
And then I think we can close on the future of sculpting in Uganda.
I think the future is bright. The more we encourage our students, if it is fabrication, making tables and chairs, that is excellent.
Excellent.
Because
Yeah.
that is a practical.
It's very practical and, you know, it's immediate.
functional.
It's functional.
So it
Then
makes
it is we,
Yeah.
the artists, what is the function of their models they are making. Then if you go around that, when they think that, the wood sculpture is functional, because I've made some sculptures which are functional. So it all depends on an individual. What do they want?
I think even us, the audiences, have to now lend our support to
We
the
have to
artists.
open our minds a bit more to
Start-
different forms of art.
Different forms of art,
Yeah.
definitely.
True.
Because we are being bombarded by a lot of China, made
Yes.
fast artifacts, or so supporting local will definitely go a long way in, I think, building that.
Okay.
Policies.
Policies to support artists, intellectual property.
Yes, all that.
as well.
If you're training artists and people in architecture, then why don't you say that if whichever building comes up, it should have an art?
Yes.
An art,
Okay. A local art piece.
And then we have so much materials which are being wasted.
Yeah.
So why don't we turn them into art, reusable, with purpose?
Yeah. Okay.
That would be awesome.
A beautiful note to end on.
Very, very beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Well, it's been a privilege speaking to Dr. Lilian Nabulime, a true pioneer for Ugandan sculpture and a champion for sparking conversations with her art.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow us on all our platforms for more stories about Ugandan artists pushing the boundaries of creative expression.
Until next time,
Come for the art.
stay for the story.
Bye.